Hi everyone, Susie here from Minnesota, and I garden in a Zone 4, and I'm just going to take you on a full garden tour. It is the start of September. Just show you how things are doing. I'm not going to go over a lot of the plant names, just going to highlight some of them. If there's any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Just going to kind of show you some, and there's a bee that's following me, some issues that I had. We got a lot of rain the other day, I would say around, in a few days, about 4 inches. Definitely needed, but some strong storms. So I have a hole here. It still looks good. I really cut away at this plant. I was out in the storm staking up the mahogany splendor hibiscus because it was pushed forward. Yeah, that was a bit much, but I really want these containers to hold out as long as possible. They still look really good. I had some that broke off in here. So up close they might look a little bare, but from far away they still look decent. Especially this one right here. Yeah, that rain was amazing, I can tell you that. Things have just responded so nicely from it. I know it's later in the season and things are coming, hate to say coming to an end, but that is the reality of it, especially for a short gardening season. The bovos still look really fantastic. I planted these this year. This is a part sun location, so we will see how they bloom next year. My Palace Purple heuchera that I started from seed, throwing off some blooms. Can't really see them, but for first year plants, I think that's pretty spectacular. It's supposed to be 70s this entire week. Gorgeous. I'm hoping it can stay that way for, I would be happy for a month of 70s. I just planted up this area. I had foxglove in here and I replaced them with Chantilly lace goat's beard. They are a little close in some areas, but I was dealing with some really tough tree roots, so I kind of work around them. And down here, not much to see, but these are the coolest cucumber hostas. And I figured squirrels were digging in the containers they were in, so I thought they probably stand a better chance out here than in those containers. And they're doing really good. The description says they are a vigorous grower. So we will see. I'm really liking the Sun Kings here. Can't wait for this one to fill in, so it just kind of creates a nice little hedge there with the black lace elderberry behind it. That's struggling a little bit, but we'll see what happens next year. At some point I will be coming in and pulling out the coleus that's in here. I'm just kind of cleaning up where I can. So I'm not leaving everything to the end and working in, well, last year I was working in the snow. I just have these placed here. They're in cans. I've just been kind of placing perennials, seeing where I like them. So these hostas here, I've had them here forever and they just look horrible out of it. They do start yellowing this time of the season a little bit, but these look really tough. I find these variegated ones look the worst in most of my gardens. So I think it might be time for a change up. I don't know about the heuchera here. I was thinking something that blooms, but this is a shady location, so I need to think on that. Salmon seal is gorgeous. And even this lamium down here, it's an upright one and gets yellow blooms on it. It's nice, but it's getting kind of lost in this area. I'm hoping this Arborvitae here, I don't know, I planted it last fall and it got through winter without that winter burn. I was very happy, but that last little heat wave we had and no rain really did a number on it. It's an Arborvitae technique. I really like it for just that different texture. Probably should have been a little better about watering that since it was a first year shrub pretty much. God, I love the hosta here. Curly fries. More perennials I placed. Don't know, some tipped over, but it's a little breezy today. There are leaves on the ground. It's just the heat we had and the no rain just did these trees in. And I haven't been doing a lot of mowing because there's been nothing to mow. I took my niece for a driving lesson the other day, and 2 weeks ago when we had some pretty high temps. We have mature trees that the leaves were wilting on. That's crazy. I put this here. I was cleaning out some containers, and I thought just adding this here for a little pop of color. It's a bit big, but it still looks gorgeous. Just an annual mahogany splendor hibiscus. And honestly, that's all that's needed in a container. But the sum and substance still looks amazing. It's been so nice to be using rainwater. So you can definitely see these hostas are doing a bit better. So those variegated ones, and again, I just had them for so long. I got them from, it was a lady who was looking to downsize. So all I had to do was come and dig, and the plants were free. So I just took what I could. When you're a first-time gardener and you need to fill up spaces, you can't go wrong with plants like that. Otherwise, it can get a bit spendy. These ferns here, I think they're called Godzilla. They were in the back here. I moved them forward, and actually they look a bit better. That's not saying a whole lot, but at least they're kind of perked up and not flat to the ground. But again, that rain has helped. I'm going to say a little. That ground is still not as wet as I would like it. Got a big leaf coming there from the elephant ear. Nice to see that. With these cooler days and the nights, things are going to start coming to a halt, especially with the tropicals. I had planted some of that crested surf Japanese painted fern. See how it'll like that. I just planted this up with that pink, I forget, I got a label somewhere else, but it's a type of grass. I had daylilies here. I have them in kind of in a holding bed right now until I decide what I want to do with them. It'll be next year. This is also I love this area. It's very filled in, but it's also something where it's been like this for so long that sometimes I'm ready for something new. I just don't know what. I mainly have shady, wet areas in my garden, so the hostas tolerate that. But I'd like to go with something other than a hosta back here, something blooming. I'm still eyeballing it. Sometimes I just sit there, I stand and stare at my gardens, just wondering, this Hakana coalgrass has done really good. And for me, that's really good because I struggle with this. It's not exactly hardy to my zone. They sell it here at the nurseries, but when you look on websites, it's pretty much a zone 5 or 6 on up. This is put on a lot of growth. This is just blood sorrel. I was starting clematis seeds and none of the clematis came up, but that did. So it's kind of cute. It's going to stay, see if I can get it to come through a zone 4 winter next year. I have a grass back here looking really good. Love the pulmonaria. I do need to get more of this. Persicaria painter's palette is a tough plant. It does spread. It should bloom at some point, but it's the leaves that are the focal point. Turtlehead Chelone. The bees love this. It's so pretty. It really likes this area in my garden. And this is herbaceous, so it does die back to the ground and puts on that much growth in a season. And it does spread for me. Because it's even spreading in the back of the garden. I'm just letting it. Any plants that are that beautiful and want to do that, I might go for it. My morning glory vine, and it's not morning, but it's cool. It took a long time for this one to bloom. Lots on top, but I really like it. Autumn Joy Sedum. I'm just starting to put on some color here. It is getting a bit floppy, but those heads are really heavy. This is kind of a parts on location, so it's definitely not the right plant for the right spot. I can tell you that. But I do push it sometimes. So I do have powdery mildew on my bee balm, Monarda. We have not been wet. I know we've been humid, but I just noticed this the other day. I watch a lot of Gardener's World. That is my go-to for any gardening. I just can't get enough of it. But from what I've heard on with them is it's also like inconsistency of watering. So I mean, we've been dry for so long and then just got this huge amount of rain, and I'm wondering if that was just enough to do this. I think this is a Fancy Feathered Ferns, Ajuga. There's different kind of varieties. When I was looking at greatgardenplants.com, they have a lot of this in different colors too. And I didn't get this from them, otherwise I would have. I'm still debating about other colors. I got this from Spring Hill Nursery. And honestly, out of all the plants I got from them, these are the only ones that really made it. But it is beautiful. It's a nice clump. It has spread nicely. I can't wait to see what it does next year. Oh So Easy Paprika Rose, just putting out a few blooms here and there. I haven't been doing a whole lot and deadheading it, just letting it do what it wants. When it's at this time in the season, I'm thinking more about cleanup than anything. Ligularia, Britt Marie Crawford, those blooms are very short. But I grow up for the foliage, so I'm kind of okay with that. And things have gotten a little floppy due to the rains. But we needed that rain. I will put up with a little, I'm going to say ugliness in the garden and breakage. I'm just going to backtrack here real quick. Goat's Beard, this one gets big. This is just the common variety. Can't wait to see that fill in. I love Goat's Beard. And this is Anemone, Falling in Love Sweetly. I was thinking about moving this last year, but I kind of like it here. It just offers a little color here when everything else is just green and beautiful. Nothing wrong with that. But it is very prolific in blooms. So there's something about this spot that it really loves. So why move it? It feels like a fall day. I know it's not autumn yet, but it's definitely in the air. There's just, I don't know. Maybe if we got a longer fall, I would appreciate it more, but maybe we will this year. Let's see, down here, those hummingbirds, they still are crazy. I cleaned out some pots here, and so this is where I planted the grass, and it is the Deschampsia, if I'm saying that correctly, Pixie Fountain tufted hair grass. And that's what's around my kennel area too. I love grasses. Just kind of looking here. I worry that that was me, that the rabbits are going to like it also. I don't have deer issues, but I do have rabbit issues along with pesky squirrels. Can you believe the foxglove down here is throwing off more blooms? Crazy. More sedum. It is pretty, but this time in the season, my sun situation shifts. It goes to part sun to more shade. So I'm not sure if this is, and especially with this being a late bloomer, if this is a good spot for it. I do like it though. It's gorgeous. Purple foliage. Italian Ice, Oh So Easy Rose. Still putting out lots of blooms. Look at this one right here. It's loaded. So this is in a part sun area for the most part. Maybe full sun at the start of the season and going to more part sun. I haven't done anything to these roses at all. I haven't even deadheaded them. And they keep putting out blooms. Getting a little tall, so I could do some size control. I have one over here somewhere, if you can. Yeah, it's right down there. Can you see it? Yeah, the lamb's ear is taking over. I need to get that under control. But it's so pretty. It's been a low maintenance plant this year for sure. But I really like those roses along with the double red Oh So Easy Rose. Again, I've done no deadheading. I fertilized them in the early season, and that was it. Just the one time. And they just keep blooming. Now my grasses, on the other hand, the rain made them flop. So I I have them tied up, and this one looks a little wonky. I need to figure that out. But they're so pretty. I love those plumes. So, but that's definitely, I need to have long sleeve shirt on for that. Those blades really cut into the skin. I made a mistake. Look at the Ornamental Alliums. I mean, look at the bee activity. One second. I got a bug on my leg. They're amazing. Again, I do need to get control of this because those are so pretty. And this is where, I'm looking at my containers to see, are you going to look any better than this, or should I just start cleaning you out? As a gardener, I have a hard time getting rid of things that are still living. This container over here has seen better days. That storm just pretty much broke everything, but I also want to say something was digging in here because it was a little weird about the breakage, but I really hacked that one back. Caladiums still look beautiful. They're not going to appreciate cold nights. I think 55 is kind of tops. Look at this. I always feel that my salvias look the best when the temps get cooler. I just think this one looks so good right now. And I know they go through kind of a bloom cycle from what I've seen. At least that. And I know I have, look. Don't you just love squirrels? But they are cute. I love watching them chase each other and drive my beagle nuts. Hyacinthine Vine is putting on another show here with the blooms. Just gorgeous. Love this. This has fallen a number of times due to the weight. It is yellowing. It's not getting enough sun anymore. I did tie it up to my umbrella. This thing is really heavy. I hope it doesn't take that umbrella because that would be much more costly than a plant. I don't think it will. Sweet peas are still putting off some blooms here, but I haven't been really keeping up with cutting them and deadheading. I'm slowing down too. I think it was a great gardening season. The heat, everything, I think did really good. But it was the lack of rain, that was a lot of watering. But look at this container. I was a little bit worried. Forgot to water this one. It was wilting, and it's got its blooms back. Kufia honeybells. Plants are so resilient. Most of them. I'm going to say most. Like down here, I have lots of cleanup to do. Echinacea still is looking good. I haven't deadheaded that. I'm just going to let it go through its cycle, and I'll just leave the seed heads for the birds. I leave a lot of this standing for the birds. Anything that's native. I can't stop looking at this. It is just covered. But yeah, this would be a rose I would recommend, especially for a first-time rose grower. It's a shrub rose, but it is just beautiful. Low maintenance, very forgiving. I really like that one. And all of my self-seeded Cleome spider flower, and I left it. I just think nature's so wonderful in helping out, where I don't have a whole lot of color going on, but it just provides. I'm not up to date on all of my pollinator species. Some of them are weird looking. Look at that. This is, I planted this last year. They were just pink. I think it was Rose Queen. And yet, so I have the pink, then like a light pink, and then a white. I think that's kind of amazing. This is my Daylily Holding Bed. They look a little tough, but if they make it, they make it. If they don't, I'm not going to stress about it because, again, I don't know where I'm going to put them. But I'm giving them a chance here. I had a lot of breakage from this one. It's just, look how tall. I'm just gonna, tomatoes have been doing good, but I just want to show you. My squash, not so good, but I do have a blue Hubbard back there that I hope can ripen before all of the vines die. I just have issues with the squash vine borers. Next year I'm just going to give up on, I'm not going to do squash. Back there, that's just climbing beans. It offers like a nice little hedge, doesn't it? Like a privacy. It's kind of neat. And that foliage. I do have beans, so I need to, I didn't think I was going to get any. Then I was back there. I'm like, oh, I got to pick this. This Dahlia here is not the variety that I picked out. This was from Walmart. I did not, this is not the color on the package, but I've got that bloom. This is all from the same plant. Got it all, so I would say this is definitely not a stable variety. Well, it's kind of unique. But yeah, not what I chose. Just wanted to give you a little update on this topiary coleus. I've got some. I just need to break that off, clean that up a little bit, and that always happens. Coleus is just a good little plant that way. But look at all of that growth. Can you see in there? That's thick. Love that one. And see, these coleus get a little more sun. So this variety right here are the same ones that are in that big urn back there. And those are a little more green, so less sun. At least that lets me know that it does get more sun back here than what I think. This is flowering, which I'll have to pinch that off. But all that new growth is kind of rust colored. Old is the purpley. I think they're doing pretty good, considering I haven't watered them at all. I will be bringing them in to see if they can overwinter. This is a purple Morning Glory. I would say this is Grandpa Ott. Isn't that color amazing? So this is definitely an invasive Morning Glory, but it is covering up my gnarly looking sweet peas. I think, yeah, I'm to the point where I'm ready for cleanup. The only bad thing is all my compost bins are full. So all of this is going to be taken to the waste site, which is fine, but I like to compost as much as I can. The zinnias here, I need to get in here and deadhead, but it's, realistically, I need to ask myself how much more time do I want to spend on plants that have limited time in the garden. I had to stake everything up. I have these green little hoops down here. I get them from Menards. Because they were all, you can see they're all kind of falling forward. The rain just did that. in Minnesota, we could be getting a freeze here in about 4 weeks or less. Last year, I want to say it was about this time we got our first freeze. Just kind of difficult coming through this, but I love it too. Oh, I'm just going to take you back here. This is probably an eyesore to a lot of people, but isn't that beautiful? I didn't do any of this, and the Nicotiana self-seeded back here, isn't that with a weed? God, I'm surprised I got white from that. Alright, this is supposed to be a path. Oh, actually they look better on this side, don't they, my sweet peas? They're liking this cooler weather. I think I am going to keep deadheading them because they're climbing up there and they will definitely appreciate the coolness. I'm not gonna lie, so will I. This rose here is just it's called Purple Pavement Rose. I'm just trying to get through. Well, again, this one I deadhead a bit. I am also trying to control the size, and it's still loaded with blooms. Well, that is definitely going to be one black-eyed Susan vine that I start again for next year. This salvia, I really like this. This is Texas Sage Hummingbird Coral Nymph. I need to deadhead, but honestly, it's just keeps throwing out blooms. Really like that one. Super tall though. Oh, and I want to show you when I was doing that Coleus topiary, I took cuttings, as many as I could. Guess what? They have all rooted. Aren't they beautiful? And I did a begonia cutting. Yeah. But I'm very happy. All I basically did, I had this. Over here, I had something here. Oh, I had a card table that I had. And then this bin, I just placed on top of this. Put it back here. I put the table kind of across it to shield it from some strong sun. I left it like that for 2 to 3 weeks. I did kind of forget. Came back and they all rooted. Love that about Coleus. Lots of free plants with just a little time involved. I came out with that storm and it was just laid flat. I have it supported in here. I trimmed it up. Looking pretty good. Alright, I'm just gonna come up this way. I have a delivery man. I like to respect people's privacy, not get them on film. I'll go back that way because I have some things I want to show you. But look at this. This is a seed I started early in the season, Columbine. Yellow pink swan or pink yellow swan, and it's still blooming. Can you believe it? So I just keep coming out, shaking these seed heads and hoping they come back next year because this has been blooming probably since, what, the middle of June to now. I mean, not prolifically, but can you see there's another bloom coming down there? I didn't realize Columbine did that. I know Columbine can be a long bloomer, Aquilegia, but that's long. Alright. Look at that lemongrass in there. Isn't that, oh. It's a little wild looking, but I love that. Unfortunately, the zinnia that was in here, the Benry's giant salmon, that busted off. Which, this still looks pretty decent, so I cleaned that up. It probably did me a favor, because now I can see Pinky Winky hydrangea. So before I go any further, I trimmed up the Cerinthe. It looks pretty tough in there. Probably won't grow that one again. I did a lot of maintenance control over here after that storm. So I think I might go with shorter varieties. Except, I mean, this is really neat. Really neat. One thing about all of these hydrangeas, they're all paniculatas. They do the best in my zone because they bloom on new wood. They are 7 years old. I can prune them very hard. I probably could prune them even harder than what I do. This one is magnificent. And they all start off white cream pretty much, and then they age to this pink mauve color, a blush color. I wish I knew that variety. That could be Strawberry Sundae. I don't know for sure. This I know is Pinky Winky, just with that kind of growth habit there. I do like that a lot. This one never flops, and you can see why. This is in a full sun location in my garden. Right now, with it getting close to fall, not so much, but for most of the summer, they get, I would say, more than 10 hours of sun over here. I have not watered these at all the entire season. So based on that, and I mean, our rain average this year might have been under 3 inches of rain for pretty much middle of May to almost the end of August. They never drooped once. And we had 90s and some hundreds. We had a hot season this year, and that started very early in the season. And so that just kind of tells you about their water needs too. I'm not saying that they're drought tolerant, but again, I never watered these. I kind of left everything on its own, especially the mature plants. And they pulled through. I have some chlorosis on the leaves, and that is due to lack of rainfall. This is Little Limelight. Isn't that gorgeous? I mean, I will say this is stunning as it ages. I do like that. This one starts off lime green. And this one is a little flopping back due to all of the rain we had. If I can get back there. School kids are coming home too now, along with my niece and nephew. They don't want to be on film. But yeah, so again, I'm a northern gardener. So if that kind of helps you in choosing some hydrangeas, and I go with this again because if I have a season where it's super cold, some hydrangeas are not reliable that way. These are all hydrangea cuttings I took last year. I do need to trim. Amazing. I just saw that. Can you see the bloom? I mean, it's not going to be major, but I don't know what varieties I took these off of. I should have been better at labeling them. This one is one I bought from Gilbert H. Wild. It's Annabelle. The squirrels are digging in that too. I gotta get that one planted. I'm speechless. I was not expecting to see blooms. Like I said, these were cuttings taken from last year. So their growth is a little wonky. Next year I'm going to give them a severe prune and see if I can make them bush out a little bit more. Oh, that makes me so happy. Kind of like a proud mama. This one right here is Limelight. I just planted this year. gorgeous. This is also going to be in a full sun location. You can definitely see. Hopefully it gets to 8 to 10 feet tall. Can't wait for that to fill out. This will kind of, it's very open in this area if you can see. And I just want to create a little more privacy. I'm not trying to be antisocial, but it is very open to the street. Look at this. This knot. Magnificent. I just purchased this year. It's a Hearty Hibiscus. I struggle with growing this. It is hardy to my zone, but that's not always a good indicator. I have lost 2 other ones, but this definitely gets full sun, better drainage. That's the variety I went with. And so it was $16.99. So I thought, you know, for $17, if it only lasts this season, you know, it would be worth it. Because I've spent more than that on other things, like the elephant ear. So, and if this comes back next year, can you imagine this color next to this hydrangea? This is also new. Limelight Prime. That lime green next to that red. Look at that. A lot of times I buy plants and then I need to figure out where I plant them later. I think we all kind of do that as gardeners. I wish I could plant one of everything. So I'm going to come around here. So this is what people see when they come driving up the back of this garden, which is, to me, very beautiful. And then little floppage back here, but it's loaded in blooms. Little Limelight has always done this for me. But I mean, I can see why, because that branch alone, with me just picking it up, is heavy. But look at that. And I don't deadhead any of these because they will also offer some kind of winter interest. Even when they go brown, those big heads, I still think that they make a statement in the garden. These are loaded in blooms. I just, oh, so happy. I'm just going to walk through. I'm still amazed by that hydrangea cutting. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed this September tour. I didn't go over all of the plant names. I was just kind of showing you. I mean, they're still amazing color and look in my gardens. They definitely appreciated that rain for sure. You can see how shady it is back here. It's only 3 o'clock. But look, I still am amazed. So hopefully you enjoyed the September tour. I will keep trying to put more tours out there as things bloom a little bit better, like the autumn Joy Sedum. The grasses should fill out a little bit more or color up a little bit more white. But at this point, I'm not ready to get rid of the stuff in my garden, but I'll start with the cleanup. Because I also like to, you know, when there's open spots, Like these containers here, I'm kind of realistic that they're not going to look that much more fantastic. But I don't know, maybe I could plant some more stuff there. I'm always looking to plant more stuff. And I'm hoping I can group my containers together at some point just to make for easier watering and more of a statement. Because there's also a channel I found is Klaus Dalby. And he does a lot of container gardening. And I was just inspired by it. So we'll see what happens next year. Alright, so hopefully you enjoyed and bye for now.